Now, in this video, I'll be showing you guys step by step of your project of the week. Now, before we get started, you should have downloaded the second folder and then the third folder already to your computer. Now, inside of your references folder, you're supposed to have 3 different images in there. So the first one, the second one, and the third one. I only want you guys to pick one image to work with. Now in this video, I'll be picking the second one. What you're gonna do first is you wanna right click on the image. You're gonna go open with, and you're gonna open your image with your Photoshop. Here we go. Now, once we have it in here, first thing I want you guys to do is to turn on your ruler. If you don't have your ruler turned on, simply just press Command and R to open it up, or you can go to View and you can go Ruler. Since mine is checked on, I'm going to leave it like that. Alright, second thing I want you guys to do is go to Image. I want you guys to go to Canvas Size. Now under the canvas size is where we change the size of the canvas first. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to change the width to 8 inches and I want to change the height to 10 inches. And we're going to leave everything just as it is. And as you see, we have our current size is 14 megabyte, and then once we downsize it to 8 by 10, it's going to be 4.75 megabyte. Alright, we're going to say OK. We're going to say processed. Alright, obviously once you've done that, since your canvas is smaller than the image, so you only see part of it. Now what you're going to do next is you're going to select on your move tool, or the keyboard shortcut is V. Make sure your auto select is turned on. Make sure your show transform control is turned on as well. You're going to click on the image. You should see a blue box covered up our image. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my option and I'm going to click from one corner to inside to resize it to fit our canvas. Alright, I'm going to say confirm on that. Alright, I'm going to press Command 0 to resize it so I have the ability to see everything in here. Now next thing I want to do is I want to go to View and we want to place our new guide layout. Alright, since the canvas is 8 by 10, so I'm going to give number 8 of the columns or number 10 of the rows. And I'm going to say OK to that. So all these little grids are going to be, all these are going to be 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inches of grid. All right. Now next thing we want to do is we want to go File, and we wanted to create a new file. All right. Now right here we're going to type out our name. We're going to call it Still Life. And then the unit here, I want to change out to inches here. And I want it to be 8 inches by 10 inches. Now keep in mind, since I'm doing my second image here, so I'm going to do an orientation of vertical. Now in case if you are doing the third one, your orientation is supposed to be landscape, or other words, it's going to be horizontal. All right, here's a really important. I want to change the resolution to 300 inches pixel per inch. We're going to keep the RGB color as a color mode for what it is now. After everything we set it up, we're going to say create. Now this is our new canvas. The next thing we want to do is we want to place them side by side so we have easier access to looking at them. Alright, now we're going to go to Window, and under the Range, remember we can do it 2 up vertical. Now once you click on that, now once you have them side by side, what you're gonna do next is you're gonna go to View, you're gonna go to NuGet Layout, and remember it's gonna be 8x10, and you're gonna say OK to that. And then the next step we want to do is we want to create another layer. All right. Now on this layer, I'm gonna call it References Layer, because everything I'm gonna draw it on top of it is going to be just references. All right. Now the tool we're gonna use to draw the references is simply just gonna be the pencil tool. Now select on the pencil tool and simply just place it just basically kind of take your time to do the placement right. So I'm gonna be right here. Simply just take your time to do this part. You can break it out the whole week, and for instance, maybe working on Monday a little bit, Tuesday a little bit at a time, in order to finish up the project on time. Now, like I said, this is just a references layer, and we're basically just gonna working on just a placement. So, but I do want you guys to take your time to finish it up. All right, to do this. All right, I'm gonna speed it up here a little bit just to give you guys just an end result of what I've actually done here. All right, now as you see right here, I've actually got all the placement, basic placement, down to our canvas, and that's pretty much about it. Now, next thing we want to do is we want to clear all the gaps, because once you've got everything ready to go, you don't really have to have it anymore. So you can start to working on some of the stuff a little bit easier. All right, now first thing first, I want to talk about the brushes. Now, if you select your brushes tool, remember you click and hold and you get to the brush tool, and then next thing we want to do is right here is called the setting. It's called the brush setting panel. So click on that, open it up, make sure you click on the brushes library so you can actually select on any kind of brushes that you want to do. Now for this particular stage, what we want to do is basically just want to have a heart around in order to create some edges and stuff. All right, now what we're gonna do is I want to create a new layer. Now underneath of this layer, I'm gonna call cup layer, because under of this layer, we're gonna give a color of the cup here, of the outlines that we actually created. All right, now without further ado, we're gonna use our window. We're gonna give a color. Now, let's see what kind of color. Maybe brown, maybe like kind of darker brown-ish color. I'm gonna give it out. All right. So what you're gonna do is you select on the kind of a brushes that you want to working on. Especially for this one, I want you guys to working on the heart around one, since you have a basic placement. So what I want you guys to do is to basically just kind of give just an outline of what you're going to be working on. I'll show you guys a little bit tricky, tips of how can you color it. Give a fill color real quick. Now Now, what I like to do here is I like to make sure all my edges are gonna be smooth. So this is what I do first. All right. Since I got all of the outline of this form ready to go, and remember, you can go to your paint bucket tool. It might underneath of your gradient tool if you don't see it. Now keep it in the same color. Now you can turn off your references layer. Once you turn it off, you can basically just color it like this. Use your paint bucket. But keep in mind, if you zoom all the way in, you're actually gonna see some of the edges here. So, but once you use the paint bucket, what you also got to do is you also got to go in and kind of getting rid of all these little things just to make a solid color. All right, there you go. Open back on the references layer. Now I know that up here I actually messed up a little bit. So what you can do is you can go back to your eraser tool. You can actually kind of just erase it back if you want. Now there's another little trick you can actually do. You can turn down your opacity down to maybe 50%-ish. So what you have here is you'll be able to go back in and kind of recreate it, your line here. Now I'm going to use my brush tool to really just go back and get back in on. Especially I kind of want to clean it up the edge of this as well. Here. All right, that looks good. The next thing I want to working on, since this is done, we're just gonna call it done for now. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna create another layer on top of it, and then let's just say the next object I want to working on is the ink bottle. So we're gonna call this layer ink, and this is really important. Make sure you actually managing your layer where you actually create a new layer and you're actually working on the stuff that you're supposed to working on, the layer that you're supposed to working on. That way it's going to get you a lot faster. All right, now since I see blue on this ink bottle, so what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to give like a blue color-ish on this ink bottle. All right, now we have our ink bottle. All right, now the next thing I want to do is the pen. Now we're going to create another layer. Now this layer is going to be in between the middle, which is going to be behind our ink bottle, but it's going to be front of the cup. So we're going to rename it to our pen. And then the pen I'm probably going to use a black. Now, if you have your layer correct, even you actually draw some stuff like back here, and you're not supposed to show up like this. See? All right, I'm just gonna show it real quick so you guys have like an idea of what are you supposed to do and stuff like that. Clean it up the edge a little bit. Now you can always turn off the visibility of your references layer just to see how this actually look like. Now I don't really like the edge of it, so you can always use your eraser to go back and either to smooth it out by using your eraser, or you can use your paintbrush. In here. Go. All right, one last thing is the book. So everything is gonna sitting on top of it, so the book is probably the very underneath of the layer. All right, for the book, I'm probably gonna use red. Now here's what I'm gonna do with the book. I'm actually gonna do it with the cover first. Make sure the opacity is back to 100%. Alright, once this is done, like I said, you can use your pen bucket and you can turn it off all the visibility of other stuff first, and you use your pen bucket, you can actually fill it up real quick just like that. And like I said before, make sure there should be like a little edge here, so make sure make sure the gap is all painted with the same color. All right. This is all done, and we're gonna call this book cover. And we're gonna call this book pages. All right, in the book pages, I'm gonna turn all of our for the book pages, I'm gonna use a yellowish color to do. Use pen bucket. Just gonna drop the color in. All right. Alright, all done. Alright, now once you've actually finished, you can actually move your references layer, click and drag, and place it on top. And so that way you can actually still see everything here. Alright, that looks good. Now here, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna start to unlock our background layer. Yours is supposed to look like this. So once you click it, and I think your background layer is supposed to change it to layer 0. So in that case, you just double click on the name and you're just gonna rename it to background layer. All right. Now in this case, kind of background color is kind of like blue-ish color. So what we're gonna do is we are going to change it. We're going to give a dark blue, a darker blue-ish color as a background here and here, and then the upper background, since it's a cloth and it's kind of whitish, and I'm just gonna leave it as it is for now. Not really too worried about it now. Just gonna keep moving on to our project. All right, next thing I want to do is kind of want to started to managing the layer a little bit better. So I want to change. I want to give individual layers put them into an individual folder. So right here, what you want to do is you can group them. So select on the ink layer, put that into a group, and in this folder we're going to call ink. And then the second thing you want to do is you want to click and drag and place your ink layer into your link folder. And once it's in there, you can see it's moved to the right slightly. So you can actually close it to make your layer panel a little bit clear. So all right, next thing we want to do is we want to make another folder. I actually want to make just for another folder, just so that I can pen layer. It's gonna be cup layer. It's gonna be book layer, and it's gonna be background layer. I'm gonna move the background layer all the way to the end, place it in there. Book layer is gonna be here. To book layer is gonna be in book. Cup layer is going to be here. Click and drag and place it in there as well. All right. And of course, pen layer is in the pen folder. All right. Now everything is in the layer panel now is more clear. So you actually, when you want to go back to reworking on stuff, you can always resource it back to where it's supposed to be. That way, it's a lot easier to work with. All right, now the next step, what I want to do is I want to install our brushes. So because that way I can start to paint already. All right, now what you want to do first is you want to select your brush tool first. And coming up here, you'll have a little icon, setting icon of your brush settings. So click on that. And you're supposed to have two different tab in here. So you click on brushes here, and then click on the menu icon here. Click on this. What you're gonna do next is you're gonna import your brushes. So click on this, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna source out or relocate wherever your brush file downloaded to. In my case, it's in my download folder. So you will just click, you will say open, and once it's done, it's probably gonna it's gonna show in the end of your brush setting here. Now I want you guys to play around with all 5 of them, and I want you to pick whichever one you want to do. All right. Now, for instance, in this tutorial video, I'll be using the last one, but feel free to use anyone. Feel free to try that out first, and feel free to use any of them that you want to do. Now, once you have your brushes selected, and I want you, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the cup layer first. So let's go into our cup layer, select on the cup layer, and first thing I want to do is I want to start with something darker. I like to draw the shadow first, and matter of fact, you always want to start with your shadow part. And make sure, remember from our exercise, make sure you have your lock transparent pixel always locked it in. So what I like to do is I like to make sure all of them are actually locked. All of the transparent pixels are locked, and that way it'll be a lot easier, because if you draw on the cup layer, it'll be a lot easier to actually start with. All right. Now, like I said, I'm gonna try that out first. If you don't know what your brush is gonna look like, you can always try that out first. It's pressure sensitive as well, so you can actually have fun with it. If you don't like that one, you can always change out to whatever the one that you actually like. All right. Like I said, I'm gonna start with the shadow first. Probably gonna do it. And if you don't really like something that you don't like, you can always go Command Z to go back and you're working on them. All right, now I really like how it turned out, but I'm actually gonna save it first. I'm gonna show you how to save it. So you're gonna go File, you're gonna go Save As. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna locate make sure where you wanna save it. You wanna know where you wanna save it first. And if yours is options is like this, and simply you will click on this arrow. It'll give you the full option of it, and make sure you save at the right place, so you can always go back to you can find your file back easily. In case I know this is the folder that I've been working with, so I'm going to save it in there. And another thing is make sure the format is a Photoshop file. All right, once you've done, just say save. All right, now since we've done the cup layer already, and let's work on the second one. The second one I want to work with is probably the pan. All right, now select, like I said, select on the layer and make sure you lock the transparency pixel with it already. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna jump right in. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to do it exactly like what's in the picture, and if you think some of the little touch will actually bring the picture more alive, feel free to do that as well. All right, I'm just gonna call it done just as it is, and I'm gonna move it on to our next one, which is for the bottle. All right, the bottle one, once we finish, not the bottle, sorry, the ink one. Now, we're gonna start with our ink. Start with the blue. All right, now one thing I wanna make sure, especially when you give it like a color, when you give like a shadow and highlights here, and make sure you want, since you have red as a background here, so the color is going to reflect to your bottle somewhere, maybe cap, maybe here since it's a glass. So here definitely I want to add some red little elements here, but not going to be like too bright. So just add a little red accents to here, because it's gonna get you like reflection everywhere here. I'm gonna add a little here as well. Here might be a little bit too bright. Let's drop it lower. There we go. Like it a lot better now. All right. Once you've done here, I'm going to move on to the book. Start with our book cover. All right. Now, since you've got pretty much all of these, and then the next thing I want to do, I probably want to, we're working on the highlight here a little bit. Make sure it's all white here. There we go. I really like it. I really like this brush because if you zoom in, you can actually see it. Like, it's really give you like the canvas textures and stuff to it, which is, I think it looks amazing. All right. Now, I really like it for now. Another thing I want to do is kind of want to give a cast of shadow on the bottle as well as the cup. The cup here, as you see, is supposed to have a little shadow here. So where we're gonna go is we're gonna go into individual folder. Under the ink folder, I'm gonna give an ink cast shadow. So I'm gonna call it ink bottle cast shadow. All right, here is a little bit dark, so I'm probably gonna use our dark-ish color here, and we're gonna just add on stuff to it. Since it's gonna be on the bottom, so you can actually just kind of give, don't worry about it, just working on like this. as well as the pen. Oops. Sorry, the pen shadow is supposed to go into the pen folder. Also going to give a cast shadow of the cup as well. Excuse me. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to add some texture to our background. And obviously it's not supposed to be a solid blue-ish background color. So what we're gonna do is we can use our brush tool. This is basically, while you have your brush tool selected, you can hold down your option to get this color from the picture. And then you will just start it to work with it. Now let me lock the pixel, transparency pixel, so I can give a shadow first to here. Here's supposed to be darker. There we go. All right. Now, one last thing is going to be another background. So, So for the background, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys, and I'm gonna let you guys to think or to think about what you actually suppose, what you can actually do with it. All right, once you have everything finished and you want to double check everything, because I still think here on the book cover, you still need to go back and rework on it a little bit. So make sure you're on the correct layer. So for instance, if I want to go back to the book, and you can select on the layer, and you make sure you're on your brush tool, and you're going to use your eyedropper, or you can hold your option. Just kind of get the colors up here. I kind of want to blend these two colors a little bit better, so I can probably use a little bit darker ones. Just kind of blended it in a little bit better. There we go. Now once you've done, you're gonna zoom in a little bit. Once you've done, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna save your file. Make sure you save your file. If you never really saved, and you want to do what with the save as. And what you're gonna do here is you want to make sure you save your file as a Photoshop file. Because I want to see all of your different layers and everything. All right, now I'm gonna say save. I'm gonna say okay. Am I gonna take a little bit longer? But go back to the Finder, go back to where you actually save your file, and you want to right click on your artwork, and you want to get info, and you want to be able to see how big is your how large is your file is. If your file is over 100 megabyte, then you can't really upload it to MonoPage, but it's okay. What you're gonna need to do is you'll just email it to me instead of upload it to MonoPage, because if your files is over 100 megabyte, email will be so much better and so much faster. All right, guys. This is it for this project. Make sure you save your file, because since you work with the Photoshop and since you work with digital painting, sometimes your computer will probably glitch. I don't want that happen to you. I don't want you to lose your lose your file or anything like that. But make sure you always save often, and just get it done. Once you save, once everything's done, upload it to MonoPage, and I'll see you guys next week.